Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Nice to meet you. So, first of all, congratulations on Black Widow. It was such an incredible film. I absolutely love it. And so kudos to you on doing such a great achievement there.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about how you approached Black Widow. So, what I mean by that is some of your previous work was more was not as huge, like kind of
Say the word. It was
up.
cheap. So it was low budget.
So how do how is that for you to go from smaller movies to this gigantic summer gargantuan blockbuster?
I think whether you're making something that is huge or whether you're making something that's really small, what we care about as an audience is the journey of the characters. So I think I had a beautiful team around me supporting me on this movie, but I had to have my eye and my heart on the same thing, which was are we lifting Scarlett Johansson? Are we creating space for her and the other actors to make this happen, this beautiful story unfold? But I had great people around me, and I really had a ball on this film.
Yeah, I mean it is so I love it so much, and I'm so glad that it's finally out, or finally eminently out. And speaking of that, so obviously there was a delay. How was that for you as a filmmaker to have to, I mean, it had to be so exciting to be like, oh, we have a release date, and then it's like, oh, it's going to be a little bit later, up a little bit later. Did
I
that
think
bother you?
No, it didn't bother me at all. I think what happened was the pandemic happened, and what bothered me was a dysfunctional health system,
Hmm.
kids being at home, not being able to go to school, people being separated and isolated. So I think we all who were on the film felt really privileged that we got to make it, and we knew that we could release it one day. And Kevin was really adamant that it would be released on the big screen, and he stayed strong. So I actually feel so lucky, and that we're coming out the other side, and it's like now we can celebrate. Now we can, some of us at least, can go back to the cinema and really enjoy it in the forum where we're meant to watch it.
Yeah, I love that, and I watched the screener at on my iPad, and I was like, I can't wait until this comes into theaters so I can go and see this on a ginormous screen where it's meant to
Mhm.
be seen.
Mhm.
It's just so great. And I love that for you that and for us as the audience that we are lucky enough to be able to get to see this on the big screen very soon.
Oh, me too. I can't wait. I'm gonna see it, I hope, with just an anonymous audience in a big cinema with great sound, popcorn, my 12-year-old daughter next to me, and yeah, I cannot wait.
And for you, speaking of your daughter, how important is it, especially as a mother and a woman filmmaker in a um, patriarchal sort of industry? How great was it, or how did you feel about being able to make this movie?
I felt lucky. I felt lucky, and I felt like it was a lot of people had come before me to get me to this position.
Mm.
So Catherine Bigelow, um, uh, I thought that Wonder Woman being made and being such a success, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. So um, I knew that those filmmakers had created the space for me. Um, so, and I want to support people coming after me. Yeah, I feel like what's exciting at the moment is we're seeing all these different voices, and I think we're all I think part of that is the filmmakers that are making these films, but also what's happened is people are watching Netflix, or they're watching Stan, or they're watching, and they're seeing like Korean film, or they're seeing North African film, or Czechoslovakian. So it's like people are open to it and they want it. I think it's really exciting time to be making stuff.
Yeah, I think, more than ever now, voices are necessarily, excuse me, necessarily being heard that should have been heard all along. But people want to see themselves represented, not just on screen as talent, which is extremely important, but behind the scenes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the irony with this was it was Scarlett and I, and then the other actors, and most of our crew was male. So sometimes we'd be on set and we'd look around, Scarlett and I, and there'd be 200 people and there'd be like 5 women. So, of course, changes have been made, but women need to have access to the technology as well as the creative, as well as writing and directing. We want to see more female gaffers, more female grips, more, we want to see, yeah, the craft people, making all the different aspects of it.
And what is your advice to a, young woman or a woman of any age, to jump in there to do it? If you had to talk to a filmmaker right now that's like, how do I get this? How do I break into this industry? What would you say to them?
I think what's really exciting now is I think it's like guerrilla style filmmaking. I think people can make stuff on their phones. They are creating their own content, and I think what's important is to make stuff that is meaningful. And I don't know how, it's like there's so much out there at the moment. There's just so much. I don't know. The hard part is, how do you stay true to who you are and get that seen? But I think what's also exciting is you can be some kid in the middle of nowhere who has a phone, and you can tell a story.
That's awesome. And finally, so with Black Widow, it's very much as much an emotional story as it is this big, Marvel action story. And how was that for you as a filmmaker to kind of weave these two things that we often don't see in, big budget blockbuster films? How was that for you as a filmmaker to be able to weave these together?
I think you just approach, I think if you have the same idea, which ours was to create something really intimate and really epic, and you approach every scene like that, so you know that a certain amount of it has to be really raw and truthful, but you don't want to lose the beauty and the spectacle, because that's why people come to see these movies. They come to be uplifted. So I never lost sight of that. I always wanted the film to be fun, but I knew that the emotion had to be real. And I think that's what, from what I'm talking to people, I think that's what they're responding to.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's such a great film. I can't wait to go see it in the big screen, on the big screen. Thank you so much for your time, Kate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.